Good morning, Mike.
Morning, Tom.
I guess it's evening in England, right?
Well, it is rather, yes, but
Oh,
morning or evening, I'm here to help. How can I help you?
let's go to the invoicing section. I've got a question about something on that.
Sure. Shall I pick job number 8 at the top here?
Yes, let's do that.
Yeah, so it's the same as ever. You click on the job number and that'll open the project.
Okay.
From the project, we go along and look at the invoice section here.
All
So
right.
I'm in invoicing. Yeah. And I assume you would like to raise an invoice?
Yes, and your term for raise invoice is build invoice or make invoice. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay, very good. Yes.
exactly so.
Let's
Yeah.
let's raise an invoice.
Okay. Right, here we are. So this is where you put in the different items on this line here, and then you add them,
Okay.
and that will build the invoice. How can I
So
help?
my question is, what's that lookup over on the left-hand side, that green lookup button?
Okay, yep, sure. Well, let's just click it and I'll show you. So within this area and within the system, you can set up a number of different supplier catalogs. So this could be, your local hardware store. It could be your own internal area where you store different labor rates if you want. Basically, things that you're going to apply many times over. You can put in a price for that, and then you look up the item and add it to the invoice.
So there's nothing there. So we don't have one in yet.
Nope, the system, when it arrives fresh out of the box for the users to use, it's empty. So
So let's go in and let's build under your supplier. Let's build an internal labor catalog for ourselves. Okay.
yeah, of course. Let me just shut that down first, and then I'll close down the project we're working on.
Okay.
As with many things that we've discussed, within the settings area is where we want to set up the parts catalog. If I scroll down, we come to suppliers and catalogs.
Okay.
And if I click on the open, we can see we've got nothing here at all. But help is at hand. Over on the right-hand side, we can add a new supplier.
And a lot of times we think of supplier as someone out there, and it's usually parts or material, but we're going to do an internal supply of labor. Let's think of it that way.
Exactly so. So yes, really by supplier, and this time we're talking about within our organization.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll click on the add supplier, and we'll see a very, very simple little dialogue opening up.
And rather than an email address, let's call it internal labor rates.
Internal.
For example, it could be anything, but labor rates even, but this is good.
Okay. Now, if you want, we can put an address, specialist skills, and the zip code for this particular supplier. But as it's internal labor rates, exactly, we don't need it. We know this is relating to us. So I hit on the submit button. Let me just take you through this. I know we're talking internally now, but we've got sites. So sometimes we'd have a downtown site rather than an out of town site with different places. The area we want to look at is the service catalog, but also key contacts. So as you can easily look up, the cell numbers for the store manager or whatever you want. Let me just pick on the service catalog. And I just want to point out something at this point, Tom, because it will have a lot of people wondering. I do realize that that my American colleagues wouldn't put the UE on the end of this service catalog. This system's in use in the UK, in the US, potentially in Australia. It's sort of sitting somewhere in the middle of an ocean somewhere as its location. So you will sometimes see catalog.
No problem. We'll feel more sophisticated putting the UE on there here in the US. So let's build a new one. Let's build a new one. So let's go to new, right?
Okay.
I'm
click
just
on
guessing.
the new. Yeah, sure. And it opens up this dialogue here, which asks for a description. And then bear with me because we're doing labor at the moment. Equipment brand, equipment type. So if we're dealing with suppliers for equipment, it would open up the supplier of that equipment and so on.
So we're gonna ignore that.
You
right?
can just ignore that, and we can type in here a description.
Let's just type in journeyman tech, or just journeyman tech.
Journeyman tech. So bear in mind, this is precisely what you will see in that lookup box when we go back into a particular job. So if that describes what it is you want, that's fine.
And so buying price, the term we use in the US is cost. So let's say our cost of labor is $65.
Okay, $65.00.
And we're going to sell that labor rate with markup. We've decided internally we're going to sell it at $95.
$95. Super. Let me scroll down because just so people can see, there is an area to put a picture of the item. If you're dealing with items, you can put notes in. But for the moment, I assume you just want to save that.
And so we've got a journeyman in there, and I want to add another labor as soon as you get that. Go ahead and save.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to enter in another labor category.
Okay. Yeah, that's
a tradesman, we'll call it. So there's the journeyman. All right.
So I'll click in the new one and a tradesman. Tradesman.
That's what we call them. Yeah. A tradesman tech.
A tradesman tech.
Yep.
Lovely. And these guys sell by cost
$45.
$45.
And we're in 80.
And you're going to sell them for $80. Okay. And I'll just save that one.
All right.
Right. So we have now got 2 items in our service catalog for labor rates.
All right. So let's go just show how on the invoice thing we can look them up now.
Okay, I'll go back to the dispatch board. And then I'll pick up on the same project we were looking at last time, job number 8.
Okay.
Which opens up in a new tab. And now if we go in and have a look in the invoice, and I'll go back in now and edit this invoice. This is the one we created last time. We can now look up and we see we've got the journeyman tech and we've got the tradesman tech.
So let's add the journeyman tech just real quick and we'll end it at that. We apply it and then so the invoice.
Right, okay, so this is now taken, we could have updated our quantity, we just left it at 1, but it's applied 1 hour of a journeyman tech, which if you remember, you were selling out at $95, tax calculation, and that is now ready to send to the customer.
Okay. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome, Tom.